said he called you and said you make out Al Pacino and De Niro of the art world.
Who did? Who said that?
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
What a prince. Oh, well, that's lovely. That's lovely. I mean, it has to be Hugh. Hugh Jackman is probably the most decent individual on the planet. I mean, a truly huge, substantial, decent man. And an extraordinary talent. And it's not because he said that.
And I'm afraid our final question of today, just up on the...
I was wondering, when you were growing up, what actors really influenced you and inspired you, and did you ever get a chance to work with any of them?
Thank you. Well, one of them was Alec Guinness, and the two other great influences were John Gielgud and Laurence Olivier. I met Laurence Olivier twice, and I have anecdotes. I never worked for him. Oh, actually, not true. Not true. I'm proud to tell you that the name of another supporting actor in Wild Geese is Laurence Olivier. I don't think that Sir Lawrence did it because he had to replace the bay window. It is Brighton Hove, however. I never worked with Sir John, though I met him on a couple of occasions, and he was, as he always was, sweet and gracious. My teenage years were changed so far as cinema going was concerned, was when I was just 13. Until then, I wanted to be either Rock Hudson or Tab Hunter, and I wanted to be married to either Doris Day or Debbie Reynolds, in that order. And then one Monday night at the Asoldo Cinema Dewsbury, I went to see a movie. I must have read something about, my brother was 5 years older than me, and he got the film magazines but would not let me touch them because he bound them and saved them all. I went to see a film called On the Waterfront, and when I got outside the cinema, I remember my disappointment at seeing it was in black and white, because this was the time when half the movies were in colour, half were in black and white and stuff. And I'd fallen in love with Technicolor. Well, I had never seen work of that kind on the screen, ever. And I can still watch it today, and it has the same impact. And I watch it regularly, and of course I drag anybody in who hasn't seen it to show it to them too. For one thing, I didn't realize people made films about people like me. Now, I didn't live and work on the Brooklyn waterfront. I wasn't from Red Hook. I didn't know anything about that. I wasn't involved with the mob or with the Teamsters Union or any of those things. But I grew up in a working class family where I saw the conditions under which my mother worked as a weaver. I knew the inequality that existed between the huge profits that were being made and the pitiful wages that were being paid. And I knew instinctively that there was a wrong here, and here was a film about a wrong. I wanted to meet all those actors. I never met Brando. I did actually meet a woman who said she would introduce me to him because he was a good friend, but I think that wasn't the only idea that she had. I wasn't prepared to go down that road. So I never met Lee J. Cobb, which was a source of great disappointment to me, despite the fact that Lee J. Cobb was one of those actors who gave names to the Un-American Activities Committee. But one day, my dressing room door in Stratford, back in 1978, I was doing The Winter's Tale, and the part would take so much out of me that and the stage door knew this, I would sit in my dressing room, and I'd have a couple of whiskies, actually, before I went home, and they knew I would be up there on my own late. And one night there was a knock on my dressing room door, and I thought it was a stage doorman. I said, yeah, I'm coming, I'll be out in just a minute. And then I heard an American voice say, Mr. Stewart, can we just say hello? And I opened the door, and standing in the doorway was Eva Marie Saint. And her husband, Jeffrey. And they told me they had walked almost to their hotel, and then had said, damn it, let's go back and see if he's still in the theatre. And there I was. So I met Eva Marie Saint, and in fact, I had dinner with her the night that I was offered Star Trek The Next Generation. And she was one of the people who said to me, do it, because it will never last. And I went one night to a dinner party in Los Angeles. I went alone, and as my coat was being taken from me in the hallway, I looked into the sitting room, and sitting in an armchair was Carl Malden. And I grabbed the hostess, because it was one of those fancy affairs, and I said, I don't care what your seating plan is, you've got to sit me next to Carl Malden. You don't understand, but this is really important. And I did, and he proved to be a gentle, beautiful man, and let me bombard him with questions, like when you're going up in the hoist out of the hold after the guy has been killed, and you reach in your pocket and you take out a crumpled cigarette packet and you put the cigarette. Did you just think of that at the moment, or was that direct? Why, Mr. Malden, did you do that? And he said, I really wanted a cigarette. And then, of course, I've forgotten, and it's awful, and then I will stop. But the first time I ever saw a film camera in my life was in a British film which was called originally To Kill a Queen, but then became known as... can't remember. It was about an Irishman who had seen his family killed by the British Army and became a radical IRA man, and his plan was to blow up the Houses of Parliament on the opening of a Parliament, on the state opening of Parliament. The Irishman was played by Rod Steiger, and I had 2 days on this film, and my 2 days were a scene with Rod Steiger in the back of a car in which I had to pull a gun on him. Do you see any resonance at all in this? And I'd never been in a movie before, and here was Rod Steiger, one of my heroes. I mean, The Pawnbroker is one of the great movies of all time. And an illustration of contained energy. I've never experienced anything like it.